Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Don Day with a special weather update brought to you by Cowboy State Daily, Wyoming's news authority. Visit them at cowboystatedaily.com or see them on their Facebook page. Well, let's take an update and take a look at things as we head on into this upcoming week with this next storm system rolling through the Rockies. Interesting changes happened since we updated you last Friday, mainly getting the models sorted out. And in an interesting turn, the European model ended up being the most incorrect. So the last big storm that came on through, it was the GFS that was wrong and the European that was right. The European model ended up making the storm develop too far south. So the outlying models, so 2 out of 3 models had a strong storm over eastern Colorado when we showed you it on Friday, with the U.S. model taking the storm more north. Well, the 2 out of the 3 were wrong. The outlier model wins. So what this means is the strong storm is still going to develop, but it's going to be impacting areas of Montana, northern Wyoming, South Dakota, and North Dakota. They're going to be impacted the most with heavy snow, wind, and cold winter storm conditions. And those areas outlined are going to have the most stressful livestock weather conditions. Good snow is going to fall on all of the mountains, so we will see a nice snowpack situation in terms of the mountains getting a boost over all of the mountains of the Intermountain West. The plains, though, of eastern Colorado, eastern Wyoming, western Kansas, and western Nebraska, well, basically it's a down slope, not an upslope. So the plains will end up getting downsloped in those areas. It'll still be cold and windy. Yes, there'll be some precipitation, but not as much as the heavier snow will go into those northern areas. Now, it's going to be a cold week. It's going to be a chilly, much colder than average stretch of weather for the next 5 to 7 days. So stock growers need to be prepared for that. We do see another storm system swinging in over the weekend, keeping a cold, wet weather pattern in place. And some of you watching this podcast did pick up some rain and snow overnight, especially across parts of Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, even parts of Utah as a Pacific wave came on through. And some of those rain and snow showers are continuing, but that is the system ahead of the main system. This next storm system is going to be coming in late tomorrow night, into Tuesday and Wednesday, and lasting into the northern plains by Thursday. So let's take a look at some of the details. Here's the satellite photo showing the wave from the Pacific that came through the region late yesterday and last night. It did trigger a few showers and thunderstorms on the plains, and this area right here is picking up most of the shower activity. We have a patch of rain and snow over central and northern areas of Wyoming, heading southeast, and we'll head into the Dakotas. Now, you don't really see much up here, do you? And that's part of the problem with the modeling. The system is fractured a bit. We have the main low here. We've got another low here. We've got another one up here you can't see. And so we're not consolidating the energy. It's fractured. It's not really able to come together until it gets well east of the divide. And here we can really see that well on the 500 millibar chart. Here is the little low that came in late yesterday and last night, bringing rain and snow and thunder to some of you. Here's the next wave coming in behind it. And here's the next wave up here. And you see this little blue patch up here? So what ends up happening is, although we've got a large, big trough, there's enough separation of the energy getting divided up too much for the low to end up getting itself organized in time to form over eastern Colorado, as we showed you on Friday. And here we go. This is by tomorrow afternoon. We have the main low beginning to swing in, and this next one in behind it, and this is the system that came through last night. As we go past Monday afternoon, we will see what happens east of the divide. But there will be wet weather here in central and northern California, Washington, and Oregon, moving into the Great Basin. There's going to be a nice front and a good producer of rain and snow here as this wave comes in. So that'll be good news. Look what happens between tomorrow afternoon and noon on Wednesday. Notice the whole trough gets stretched. It gets stretched out. We're not consolidating the energy. So when it gets spread out like this, it's hard to get one main storm center to really come together. Notice, though, how far south the base of the low is getting into here. And this is what the European model was seeing, and the other models were seeing, that this was going to come over the divide, and get itself into what we call a closed low situation. Now it is going to turn into a closed low, but since the energy can't separate itself, what ends up happening is there it is. The low begins to wind up and blow up over Minnesota, and the counterclockwise spin around it comes back up into the western Dakotas, eastern Montana, and northeastern areas of Wyoming. This is where the storm really gets itself organized. So instead of the storm closing off and becoming a strong storm on Wednesday, it gets delayed a day before it gets itself together, not until Thursday. By then, it is pushed off to the north and east. This other trough holds back here, and this is what's going to swing through the Rockies by next weekend. But the counterclockwise spin is going to be pretty impressive with this, pushing in some pretty cold air. And there is going to be some rough winter weather for livestock interest in these areas up here. Eastern Montana, the northern areas of Wyoming, into a good portion of South Dakota, North Dakota up into Minnesota here. This is where the axis of the heavier snow will be, instead of what looked like Friday for it to be down here. There's going to be very cold temperatures, wind, and it's going to be mostly in the form of snow. Now notice, this is through next Friday. Notice good snow falling in the mountains of Colorado and Wyoming, the Wasatch, the western mountains of Wyoming, the Bighorn Mountains, the southwest mountains of Montana, and then a nice little swath of moisture coming into the Pacific Northwest, getting Idaho and Oregon, the northern Sierras. But this area here, which needs the precipitation and we were a little more hopeful for, unfortunately, it's going to miss out. It's going to be a downsloping event. Yeah, some moisture, but not very much. This is a little bit of a closer in look. You can see this axis of heavier moisture. We haven't seen a good shot of moisture like this for northeastern Wyoming in quite a while, and that's going to be really good news. A nice shot of snow for the northwestern areas of Wyoming, eastern Idaho as well. A lot of this will be high elevation, wet spring snow, which is exactly what you want to see this time of year. We really need to see some precipitation here, but unfortunately, it's all going north of those areas. So livestock interest in this area right here, you really need to be prepared for some winter conditions with wind, much colder temperatures, and much colder wind chills. And here you can see the extent of the snow with this system, pretty impressive. And focusing in, you can see some very impressive amounts of snow that are going to be falling in these areas here. So southeastern Montana, northern Wyoming, western South Dakota, pretty much all in North Dakota. That's where the stock growers need to pay the closest attention. But it's going to be cold and raw everywhere on here. So you can see the drought monitor, this area right here that's in the drought conditions are going to see a little bit of help there. Look at these temperatures. These are the temperatures over 5 days, basically from tomorrow through next Saturday. So you can see how chilly it's going to be with the focal point of the coldest air over the areas that are going to get the snow right here. And there's going to be, I'm afraid to say, a fair amount of wind. These are the wind gusts through the next 3.5 days. And you can see as the storm develops, there'll be some strong winds again across the northern plains. Some strong winds will develop across areas east of the divide. Now, nothing like what we saw last week. Look at these winds across Utah and Colorado. These winds will also go down into New Mexico along I-25 as well. So it's going to be an unsettled pattern. Here is the next wave coming for next weekend. And there's other waves behind it. So what we're going to continue to see is over the next 7 to 10 days, I think the mountains are going to fare the heaviest with the moisture, with this area of winter storm conditions developing on the plains as we get into Tuesday night, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll see you at our normal time tomorrow. Have a good rest of your weekend.